All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Tanvi Taneja and with me is Saira Mujtaba. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says United Nations faces crisis of confidence without comprehensive reforms. Prime Minister to address IIT Guwahati's convocation today through video conferencing. Government hikes minimum support price for Rabi crops. Railways floats revised tender for 44 Vande Bharat trains in line with Make in India policy. Parliament passes Epidemic Diseases Amendment Bill providing protection to healthcare personnel. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic wins men's singles event at the Italian Open in Rome. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the United Nations faces a crisis of confidence without comprehensive reforms. The Prime Minister said this while addressing the high-level meeting of the United Nations General Assembly to commemorate the 75th anniversary of United Nations last night through video conferencing.
We cannot fight today's challenges with outdated structures. Without comprehensive reforms, the UN faces a crisis of confidence. For today's interconnected world, we need a reformed multilateralism that reflects today's realities, gives voice to all stakeholders, addresses contemporary challenges, and focuses on human welfare. India looks forward to working with all other nations toward this end.
Mr. Modi said the declaration being adopted on this occasion acknowledges that work still needs to be done in preventing conflict, ensuring development, addressing climate change, reducing inequality, and leveraging digital technologies. The Prime Minister paid tributes to all those who have advanced the cause of peace and development under the UN flag, including in UN peacekeeping missions, where India had been a leading contributor. He said 75 years ago, a new hope arose from the horrors of war, and for the first time in human history, an institution was created for the entire world.
As a founding signatory of the UN Charter, India was part of that noble vision. It reflected India's own philosophy of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. We see all creation as a family. Our world today is a better place because of the United Nations.
India has been spearheading decades-long efforts to reform the Security Council, saying the structure set up in 1945 does not reflect contemporary realities of the 21st century and is ill-equipped to handle the current challenges. There is widespread support, including by 4 of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, US, UK, France and Russia, for a permanent seat for India at the Council. Prime Minister will address the convocation of IIT Guwahati today through video conferencing. In all, 1,803 students, including 687 B.Tech and 637 M.Tech students, will be conferred degrees. Assam Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal, Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, Union Minister of State for Education Sanjay Dhotre and other dignitaries will participate in the event. To celebrate their graduates' accomplishments through virtual mode, the Institute has created a virtual reality-based award distribution ceremony where one can experience an avatar of the recipient of the award collecting a medal. More from our correspondent.
Established in 1994, IIT Guwahati has completed 25 years of its existence last year. Spread across 285 hectares of area, the institute has 11 departments and 5 interdisciplinary academic centers covering all the major engineering, science and humanities disciplines. The institute offers a residential campus to 412 faculty members and more than 6,000 students. Besides its laurels in teaching and research, IIT Guwahati has been able to fulfill the aspirations of the people of the Northeast region to a great extent. The institute has been ranked at 6th position in India overall rank and 350th position under the world overall rank categories released by the NASA Index for the year 2020. Manas Pratim Sharma, AR News, Guwahati.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has hailed the passage of the farm bills in Parliament, saying these bills will revolutionize the agriculture sector. Mr. Modi was speaking after laying the foundation stone of 9 highway projects in Bihar through video conferencing yesterday. The Prime Minister pointed out that the farming sector in India is in need of technological and structural upgrades, citing that the bills will pave the way for farmers to increase their yield by using better tools. Mr. Modi said that the agriculture sector is in desperate need of latest technology that assists the industrious farmers. Now, with the passage of these bills, he stressed that farmers will have easier access to futuristic technology that will boost production and yield better results. Mr. Modi assured India's farmers that the centre aims to serve them and build a stronger agricultural industry for future generations. The Prime Minister also highlighted the need for removal of middlemen in the farming sector. Mr. Modi said that for many decades, farmers in India have been bullied by middlemen. The PM reiterated his assurance regarding minimum support price MSP.
इतने बड़े व्यवस्था परिवर्तन के बाद कुछ लोगों को अपने हाथ से नियंत्रण जाता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है। इसलिए अब ये लोग एमएसपी पर किसानों को गुमराह करने में जुटे हैं। ये वही लोग हैं जो बरसों तक एमएसपी पर स्वामीनाथन कमेटी की सिफारिशों को अपने पैरों के नीचे दबाकर बैठे रहे। मैं देश के प्रत्येक किसान को इस बात का भरोसा देता हूं कि एमएसपी की व्यवस्था जैसे पहले चलती आ रही थी वैसे ही चलती रहने वाली है। इसी तरह हर सीजन में सरकारी खरीद के लिए जिस तरह अभियान चलाया जाता है वो भी पहले की तरह चलते रहेंगे।
The government has hiked the minimum support prices or MSPs of all mandated Rabi crops. The decision was taken at a meeting of Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar told Lok Sabha that the MSP of 6 Rabi crops including wheat, chana, masoor, mustard, jowar and safflower has been hiked in the range of 50 to 300 rupees. He informed that the MSP of wheat has been increased by 50 rupees and now stands at 1,975 rupees per quintal, whereas the MSP for masoor has been hiked by 300 rupees. The MSP for mustard and chana has been increased by 225 rupees. Increase in jowar's MSP is by 75 rupees, while for safflower, the hike is by 112 rupees per quintal. Mr. Tomar informed that the government paid nearly 7 lakh crore rupees to the farmers as part of the MSP payment in the last 6 years, which is almost double the amount that was paid from 2009 to 2014 under the UPA government's tenure.
हमने 6 साल के भीतर नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में एमएसपी के भुगतान के रूप में 7 लाख करोड़ रुपया किसानों को भुगतान किया है, जो यूपीए सरकार से लगभग दोगुना है। जो भारत सरकार ने कहा, जो नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने कहा, वो एमएसपी घोषित करके उसको प्रमाणित किया है।
The minister said that the hike, which is in consonance with the recommendations of the Swaminathan Commission's report, reflects the current government's commitment towards minimum support price and procurement of agri-products in the country. He reiterated that the recently passed farm bills in the parliament do not impact MSP or provisions of APMC Act in any way. Mr. Tomar also appealed to the farmers not to fall prey to the false or misleading political tactics of the opposition parties. The Agriculture Ministry has said that Food Corporation of India or FCI and other designated state agencies would continue to provide price support to the farmers.
Home Minister Amit Shah has welcomed the Union Cabinet decision to hike the MSP of 6 Rabi crops. Expressing gratitude to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Mr. Shah said that every day and every moment of the Modi government has been devoted towards welfare of the farmers and the poor. He said Modi government has once again reiterated its resolve towards welfare of farmers and the poor by raising the MSP of 6 Rabi crops. He said this unprecedented hike in MSP by the government is a pragmatic effort towards doubling the farmers' income.
Parliament gave its assent to the Epidemic Diseases Amendment Bill 2020, with Lok Sabha passing it by voice vote in a late-night sitting yesterday. Rajya Sabha gave its nod to the bill on the 19th of this month. The bill amends the Epidemic Diseases Act of 1897 to include protections for healthcare service personnel combating epidemic diseases and expands the powers of the central government to prevent the spread of such diseases. The bill repeals the Epidemic Diseases Amendment Ordinance that was promulgated in April this year. The legislation makes harm, injury, hurt or danger to the life of healthcare service personnel as a cognizable and non-bailable offence. It has provisions of imprisonment from 3 months to 5 years and a fine between 50,000 and 2 lakh rupees. Persons convicted of offences under the bill will also be liable to pay compensation to the healthcare service personnel whom they have hurt. The Lok Sabha passed the Homeopathy Central Council Amendment Bill 2020 and the Indian Medicine Central Council Amendment Bill 2020 last night. Rajya Sabha had passed these bills on the 18th of this month. The Homeopathy Central Council Amendment Bill amends the Homeopathy Central Council Act of 1973. The Act sets up the Central Council of Homeopathy, which regulates homeopathic education and practice. The bill replaces the Homeopathy Central Council Amendment Ordinance 2020, which was promulgated in April this year. The legislation amends the 1973 Act to increase the period for the supersession of the Central Council from 2 years to 3 years. The Indian Medicine Central Council Amendment Bill amends the Indian Medicine Central Council Act of 1970. The Act provides for the constitution of a Central Council which regulates the education and practice of the Indian medicine system including Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy. The bill replaces the Indian Medicine Central Council Amendment Ordinance 2020 which was promulgated in April this year.
The Indian Railways has floated the revised tender of semi-high-speed 44 Vande Bharat train sets. The tender is for 3-phase propulsion, control and other equipment along with bogies for train sets. The tender has been uploaded on www.ireps.gov.in. The Railway Ministry said that the revised tender is in line with the government's preference for Make in India policy. The minimum local content percentage has been revised to 75%. The ministry said that it is the first big tender under the revised DPIIT norms of Atmanirbhar Bharat having at least 75% domestic components. It said that the tender is now a domestic tender and only the companies registered in India can apply and will have to quote in Indian rupees. The ministry said pre-bid meeting for the tender will take place on the 29th of this month and it will be opened on 17th of November. The train sets will be manufactured at the Integral Coach Factory in Chennai, Rail Coach Factory in Kapurthala and Modern Coach Factory in Rai Bareli. In Chhattisgarh, a regular flight service from Jagdalpur, the divisional headquarters of Tribal Bastar Division, to Raipur and Hyderabad began yesterday. Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel virtually inaugurated the flight. On this occasion, in a recorded video message, Union Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said the move will boost tourism in the Bastar region, which is known for dense forests, high hills and waterfalls and unique tribal culture. He said air connectivity will fulfill the aspirations of the people of the region and provide impetus to the local economy. Speaking about the efforts being made under the regional connectivity scheme UDAN, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, the minister said the centre has sanctioned 108 crore rupees under the UDAN scheme for upgradation and development of 3 airports in Chhattisgarh.
The Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has called upon industrialists and entrepreneurs to invest in the state, saying that now UP is the idea whose time has come. He announced that Gautam Budh Nagar, Noida will be developed as the biggest business hub of northern India. Presiding over a meeting of Invest UP, formerly known as Udyog Bandhu, the Chief Minister said that UP is now on the path of releasing its much-cherished dream of attaining $1 trillion economy status. The Chief Minister said that UP has a ready land bank of 20,000 acres on which the industries can be set up. The state government is coming out with a comprehensive land policy besides formulating new farmer policy and data policy. You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says United Nations faces crisis of confidence without comprehensive reforms. Prime Minister to address IIT Guwahati's convocation today through video conferencing. Government hikes minimum support price for Rabi crops. Railways floats revised tender for 44 Vande Bharat trains in line with Make in India policy. Parliament passes Epidemic Diseases Amendment Bill providing protection to healthcare personnel. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic wins men's singles event at the Italian Open in Rome. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alert.
The Health Ministry has said that India has recorded very high single-day recoveries from COVID-19 successively during the last 3 days. In a tweet, the ministry said more than 90,000 patients were cured and discharged from facility isolation in hospitals every single day. It said this high rate of daily recoveries has positioned India as the top country globally with maximum number of recovered cases. The ministry said this has also pushed the recovery rate to a high of more than 80%. In Madhya Pradesh, corona patients are recovering at a fast pace. The recovery rate in the state has reached 77.3%. The death rate in the state has also come down to 1.86%. Our correspondent has filed this report.
The number of corona tests per 10 lakh is reached up to 22,425 in Madhya Pradesh. At the same time, the state has a positivity rate of 5.87%. Additional Chief Secretary Health Mohammad Suleiman said that out of the total corona patients in the state, 8,803 are in home isolation, which is 39% of the total patients. They are being monitored regularly. The government has instructed the officials to take necessary measures for the control of corona at the local level. Meanwhile, the number of COVID-19 cases in the state climbed up to more than 108,000, while 83,618 have been recovered so far. There are now 22,542 active cases in Madhya Pradesh. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Gujarat reported a record 1,430 new cases of COVID-19 during the last 24 hours. The total number of cases in the state have gone up to 1,24,767. More from our correspondent.
With the recovery of 1,316 patients yesterday, the recovery rate has further improved and reached up to 84.23%. Total 1,05,091 patients have been recovered in the state till now. More than 38,62,000 tests have been carried out in the state till date, out of which 61,897 tests were carried out yesterday. Maximum 290 new cases reported from Surat. At present, total active cases in the state are 16,337, out of which 89 patients are on ventilator. 17 patients died yesterday, taking the total death due to COVID-19 up to 3,339. Meanwhile, Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has added 14 new areas in the micro-containment zone, while clearing 20 areas from the list. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Former RBI Governor C. Rangarajan submitted the report on boosting Tamil Nadu's economy to pre-COVID levels to Chief Minister Edappadi K. Palaniswamy in Chennai yesterday. More from our correspondent.
The report of the 24-member panel led by ex-RBI Governor C. Rangarajan indicates that the Tamil Nadu economy will rebound in about 2 months to the pre-COVID levels. The panel was tasked with assessing the impact of the pandemic on the state's revenues and to suggest medium-term measures to ensure the rebounding of the economy. After submitting the 250-page report, Mr. Rangarajan, who currently chairs the Madras School of Economics, told reporters there may be a likely contraction, though the GST collection, fuel consumption and power usage show the signs of green shoots of growth. However, he said it would be difficult to predict the state's growth rates at this juncture. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
In Odisha, the COVID-19 cumulative recovery has further increased to 1,45,675, though the total number of infections has spiked to 1,84,122. While COVID-19 fatalities have crossed the 700 mark, the state's active caseload is 37,684 as of now. More from our correspondent.
Odisha of late is witness to a neck-to-neck race between Delhi infection and Delhi recovery, with 4,018 recovered cases against 4,242 new cases on a single day yesterday. Capital Bhubaneswar, which has been a major contributor to the state's viral burden, reported as many as 506 persons getting cured against 306 persons getting infected yesterday. As for the COVID-19 report, Khordha district with 652 and Devgarh district with only 10 fresh cases continue to represent the extreme ends of the Delhi infection in the state, with about half the districts in between reporting cases below 100. Girish Chandra Das, Bhubaneswar.
Dr. Balbir Singh of Max Hospital, Saket, Delhi, has said that diabetic and heart patients are at a higher risk along with senior citizens as far as COVID is concerned. In the discussion with AIR, he talked about the importance of wearing a mask for safety from coronavirus.
पॉपुलेशन जो हाईएस्ट रिस्क पे है वो डायबिटिक्स है, हार्ट पेशेंट्स हैं और ओल्डर पेशेंट्स हैं। 3 ग्रुप्स हैं जो बिल्कुल हाई रिस्क पे हैं। जब तक वैक्सीन नहीं आती, मास्क एक वैक्सीन है आपके पास, हैंड सैनिटाइजेशन, हैंड वॉश एक वैक्सीन है। जब तक वैक्सीन नहीं आती, उसको पूरी तरह से यूज करिए।
Bollywood actor Kangana Ranaut yesterday denied the Mumbai Civic Body's claim in the Bombay High Court that she had made illegal structural alterations at her Pali Hill bungalow, part of which was demolished on 9th of this month. In her rejoinder affidavit, Ms. Ranaut said that the civic body had abused the statutory process by initiating the demolition of a part of her property without giving her adequate notice. She had said earlier that the BMC had given her only 24 hours to respond to the demolition notice and had hurriedly rejected her reply to its notice. She pointed out that when a similar type of notice was served to designer Manish Malhotra, he was given 7 days to respond. In our series on Seva Saptaha, today we bring you a special story on Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. In the last 6 years, the Narendra Modi government has given a lot of emphasis on providing housing for all with basic amenities. The government is implementing Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana to achieve the objective of housing for all by the year 2022. The Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, had launched the restructured rural housing scheme, namely Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, on 20th of November 2016 from Agra, with the target of construction of 2.95 crore houses with all basic amenities by the year 2022. Addressing the Grih Pravesham event in Madhya Pradesh through video conferencing on 12th of this month, Mr. Modi said that notwithstanding the challenges during the Corona period, work of 18 lakh houses has been completed throughout the country under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin.
कोरोना के काल में तमाम रुकावटों के बीच भी देश भर में प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत 18 लाख घरों का काम पूरा किया गया है। इस दौरान जिस गति से काम हुआ वो भी अपने आप में एक रिकॉर्ड है। सामान्य तौर पर प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत एक घर बनाने में औसतन 125 दिन 125 दिन का समय लगता है। कोरोना के इस काल में पीएम आवास योजना के तहत घरों को सिर्फ 45 से 60 दिन में ही बनाकर तैयार कर दिया गया है।
More from our correspondent.
Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin was launched with an aim of providing housing for all in rural areas. The scheme was made more comprehensive as it included amenities like water, gas, toilet and electricity supply in all the households. Under the PMAYG, houses are being constructed using new technologies. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban PMAYU was launched in 2015 with the objective of providing Pakka house to all eligible beneficiaries of urban India by 2022 with the vision of housing for all. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs has received a validated demand of about 1.12 crore houses under PMAYU, and so far over 1 crore 7 lakh houses have been sanctioned. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
In our series on Gandhian philosophy, today we bring you a report on Gandhiji's views on sanitation. Mahatma Gandhi was a strong critic of Western customs, but he admitted that he learnt sanitation from the West and wanted Indians to inculcate such habits. He urged Indians to maintain hygiene not only in personal life but also for their society. Gandhiji also opposed the practice of untouchability, and he continuously worked for the social and political upliftment of downtrodden. Gandhiji said that conservation of national sanitation is Swaraj work and it may not be postponed for a single day on any consideration whatsoever. Our correspondent has more details.
Mahatma Gandhi was not comfortable with the level of untouchability since childhood. In Gandhiji's hometown, a sweeper called Uka did the scavenging. If the young Gandhi ever touched Uka, his mother Putlibai made him take a bath. Gandhiji had questioned his mother over it. The father of the nation carried out several campaigns against the practice of untouchability and ill treatment to people from the Dalit community and launched several initiatives like establishment of Harijan Sevak Sangh for their empowerment. Gandhiji also used to publish a periodical named Harijan to give voice to Dalit issues. With Anand Kumar, Anupam Mish, AR News, Delhi.
In tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic won a record 36th Masters title by beating Diego Schwartzman in the Italian Open at Rome last night. The Serb, playing in his first tournament since being disqualified from this month's US Open, won 7-5, 6-3 in the final to ensure that he goes into next week's French Open on a high. The French Open starts on Sunday with Rafael Nadal seeking a record extending 13th men's singles title in Paris. Earlier yesterday, top-seeded Simona Halep of Romania won her first Italian Open title when defending champion Czech Karolina Pliskova retired midway through the final with an injury. Halep was leading 6-0 2-1 when Czech player Pliskova stopped playing after just 31 minutes. In IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by 10 runs at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium last night. Chasing a target of 164, Hyderabad were all out for 153 in 19.4 overs despite 61 of 43 balls from in-form batsman Johnny Bairstow. Bangalore's bowler Yuzvendra Chahal took 3 wickets, while Navdeep Saini and Shivam Dubey ended up with 2 wickets each. Earlier, Devdutt Padikal's impressive 56 of 42 on debut and a typical explosive half-century by AB de Villiers' 51 of 30 helped Royal Challengers Bangalore post 163 for 5 after they were sent into bat. Hyderabad's bowlers T. Natarajan, Vijay Shankar and Abhishek Sharma took 1 wicket each. Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 32 degrees. The city is likely to have mainly clear sky. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature was around 9 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 29 degrees. Ladakh will have mainly clear sky. The temperature is likely to hover between 8 and 24 degrees. In Gilgit, the temperature is likely to hover between 11 and 34 degrees. In Muzaffarabad, there will be mainly clear sky. The temperature is likely to hover between 16 and 35 degrees Celsius. Delhi will have a thunderstorm with rain. The minimum temperature was recorded at 22, while the maximum is expected to be around 35 degrees. In Mumbai, there will be generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. The minimum temperature was 26 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 32 degrees. Chennai, the temperature is likely to hover between 26 and 33. Kolkata will witness cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature in the metropolis was 25, while the maximum is expected to be around 31 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Ushering in agrarian reforms with the passage of key farm bills, Centre vast procurement of crops, MSP will not end, writes the Asian Age. Bid to assure MSP up for 6 crops, BJP tells MPs to spread the word, headlines the Indian Express. Several dairies highlight the ruckus in Parliament as 8 opposition MPs were suspended from Rajya Sabha for the rest of the monsoon session for their unruly behaviour. Opposition parties urge President to reject farm bills, writes the Statesman. Reporting on the LAC stand of talks, the Pioneer writes, India asks China to make first move for pullback. The Times of India reports, students trickle back to school in 8 states, J&K after 6 months. And finally, breaking glass ceiling from warship to Rafale. The Hindustan Times reports that the Indian Navy for the first time has allowed deployment of women officers on warships. The paper adds that even a female fighter pilot is being trained by the Indian Air Force to fly the Rafale.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says United Nations faces crisis of confidence without comprehensive reforms. Prime Minister to address IIT Guwahati's convocation today through video conferencing. Government hikes minimum support price for Rabi crops. Railways floats revised tender for 44 Vande Bharat trains in line with Make in India policy. Parliament passes Epidemic Diseases Amendment Bill providing protection to healthcare personnel. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic wins men's singles event at the Italian Open in Rome. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.